Hello, welcome to Studio Nicole. I am Nicole, and I'm so glad that you're here today. I am trying to do something in my studio that is not cleaning or organizing because I feel like that's all I've done for the past few days. Every time I come in here, I see the mess and I feel stressed out by it, and I feel like I need to clean. And I just really want to do some actual art or do something that feels a little bit creative. It feels a little bit like a little bit of something. So, I did recently get a new sewing machine. It's not new. I got it from a friend of mine, Rachel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I thought that I would take a few minutes to familiarize myself with it. It is the same model as the one that I had before, but it was, somebody else's, and I want to make sure that it works and that it works well, and that I know what I'm doing because it's probably been almost 2 years since mine stopped working, and that's a long time in sewing machine years. So I just wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing. And so I thought I would make these fun little heart banners because I love to make them. They're kind of mindless. It's taken me a few minutes this morning I did re-thread the sewing machine. I switched out the plastic bobbin for a metal bobbin, and I switched the thread from white to black. I did have to watch a YouTube video to remind me how to install the new bobbin because I didn't quite remember that part. And I got it working. I sewed, let's see, here's what I did. I mean, I know this is not anything earth shattering, but it worked. It worked, and I just did a little back and forth and at the end, so that's why it looks kind of messy at that end. But yeah, this is better than what I was doing with my other sewing machine. It absolutely refused to do anything, so pretty happy with the way that's going. So now I'm just cutting out a bunch of hearts, and I thought I could do that and maybe talk for a few minutes on camera. And it feels like it's been forever since I've done anything on camera. I feel like I've been prepping for Pages Unbound. I have been doing a lot of that lately, putting together welcome kits and sorting out, destash items to go in the destash pile and just making general plans. These actually ended up being a little bit bigger. I was going for something smaller, and I got ahead of myself and made them pretty big. So I don't know if these hearts are going to work. Some of them might. But I've also got this. I pulled out, this was before I got this fun, like contact paper desk pad, I was using just paper and I would paint all over it, as you can see. And so I was going to cut some of this up and make some hearts out of this. I'll do a strip of this blue right here, and then just kind of pick off a corner of this paper. I'm not going to make that many. This will make a whole bunch actually, and I'll fold that up later when I'm not trying to record. I know that my microphone is doing a terrible job. I've been doing a lot of research trying to figure this out. And this is a condenser microphone that I have, and it picks up a lot of ambient noise. So my breathing in particular, like when I inhale, I know that I can hear it, and it stresses me out so much because I'm sure that that's frustrating for you guys who are listening. So here's the problem. However, because nothing in life is ever simple, the problem is that I bought a dynamic microphone instead, which should be a better fit for my particular recording setup, but it will not connect to my laptop. And I went through this last summer when I first set up my YouTube channel and I was buying equipment and setting everything up. I had the same problem, and I went through like 5 different microphones, and I could not find one that would connect. And I know that that just sounds like I don't know what I'm doing, but even my son, who works in IT, couldn't figure out why none of the microphones I bought would it like my computer just won't recognize them. Um, I don't know. I don't know why. It's like this laptop. It's an Acer, and um I don't know. I don't understand it, but nothing that I have bought and returned so many microphones over the past year to try and find one that works better. And I just got one I was really excited about. It's this dynamic, I'm probably going to knock everything over trying to get it out. It's a very nice dynamic microphone. I got it because it was, Prime Day, and I thought I would try it and save a little bit of money. I installed it, I set it all up, I moved like 80,000 wires, and no sound, nothing. Like the little bar that shows my volume level was like bouncing up and down. So I felt like that was promising and maybe it was working. But then when I went to watch the video back later, nothing. I mean, now luckily I didn't record like a whole video. I just did a test. So I'm not super sad, to have lost a lot of video or anything, but it's so frustrating. Like, it's so frustrating. I don't understand why my laptop is so particular about what it will accept and what it won't. And I've gone into the audio settings and I've tried to access it there and like troubleshoot from there. And I'm getting nothing. It won't even do the test. It won't even like perform the test. Like it just acts like there's no microphone, even though I can clearly see the microphone there and it's listed. Technology is infuriating sometimes. Tell me I'm not the only one who is annoyed by technology. So, yeah, I don't use my phone to record, because, well, for a lot of reasons. Mainly, I like to be able to see what I'm recording. So I have my laptop set up to my left so that I can see the screen and see what's happening. And I prefer that setup when I'm recording. And I also don't have a lot of storage space on my phone. Like even just recording the little video shorts that I record, they take up so much room, and every couple of days I have to go in and like clear my entire photo storage out, because my phone threatens, to go on strike if I don't give it more room. And so recording whole videos would just be really out of the question. Like I wouldn't even probably get through one video and my phone would just crash. And yeah. So I'm just cutting hearts. As you can see, I'm not doing anything super fancy. Now here's what I do with them. Actually, let me cut a few more and then I'll show you what I do with them, because I want to get through this strip of paper here. And I'm just cutting maybe rectangles, squares in some cases, and then I'm just freehanding some hearts. Now you can trace these or use a heart punch if you wanted to try to do this. I don't know that I love these colors. This orange in here, orange and purple are not, and green, orange, purple, and green together. This is not my favorite color combination. What do you say? But who knows? Who knows how it'll turn out? You got to give it credit. Give it a chance. Sorry, not give it credit. Sometimes my brain just fills in like a cliche. My mouth fills in the cliche, and my brain is like, wait, that's not what you meant to say. Can I blame that on perimenopause, or is that just me juggling too many things? Is that multitasking at work? This one's really nice. I love these colors together. It's like grungy red and pink and like a light pale blue. This blue paint here, that's on all of these. It doesn't even look blue really on camera. It looks more white on camera, but in life it's like a powder blue. And it's not even a powder blue. It's more warm than a powder blue. It's like it leans towards teal a little bit or turquoise, but it's really, really pale. Anyway, that is wall paint from when I painted my bathroom. I painted my bathroom downstairs this color, and I love it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I had a ton of extra paint left over, and so I brought the whole, like, my dirty paintbrushes and my roller and my roller pan. I just brought it all into the studio, and I sat down and I smeared this blue paint all over everything. So I have tons of paper with this blue paint on it. I have some book pages with blue paint. I used it through some stencils, so I have blue paint all over some of my stencils. And I just thought it was a nice way to kind of, use up the leftover paint. Since it is a color that I love, um, I'll do a couple of them, just brown paper. Use up these last little scraps. We must use all the scraps, right? So we'll do a little brown paper one. And yeah, so I have been very busy prepping for Pages Unbound, putting together welcome kits and gathering supplies for different projects and trying to get organized. I am less than a month away at this point. We're like 2.5, 3 weeks out. So I actually am hoping to make enough of these that I can include some of them in the welcome kits. That's my hope, is that if I make enough. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just trying to find a kind of a scrap blank piece of paper over here. You'd think I would have some scrap paper somewhere, but everything seems to have stuff on. Okay, here is some scrap paper. This is very thin paper. And I'm just cutting a strip of paper off. Probably cut a couple strips, actually, because I'll need a few of these. So I'm just cutting some thin strip. This is pretty thin paper. It really doesn't matter what you use. You probably don't want anything super thick, but here's how we do it. Okay, what I like to do, I've got all these hearts in all these different colors and different paper patterns, and I'm going to use just a glue stick, and I'm going to run just a thin strip of glue stick down the middle of the paper. I'm just tacking this down. It doesn't have to be a lot, okay? So I'm going to pick some colors, and I'm going to stick the hearts along them. I try to alternate colors and give myself some. See, I don't want like words next to words. Can you see what I'm doing here? I love the black next to this color, but I don't want the words right side by side. So I'm gonna grab this one, and then maybe I'll put one of these in. Let's see. And end with another bit of blue. There we go. Put that on top. What's it got there? Some weird stuff happening. Okay, so that is my little banner. Just 5. You can make them longer, but I like short ones. And then I'm cutting off the excess. So they are glued together. Let me get centered here. They're glued together just with a tiny little strip of paper and a little bit of glue just tacked on there. They're clearly not put together very well. Right? They're not going to hold up very long. So now is when I slide them into my sewing machine. I'm going to put this back up. I have no idea what this is going to sound like. I don't know if my microphone is going to cancel out the sound of the sewing machine or if you guys are going to have to hear it. So I apologize if it's loud. I'll try and edit it out in editing. But I'm not going to pause. I'm just going to go ahead. All right. I like to stitch a little bit past the end, and then I'm going to pull this out and cut it off. Nope. Cut. All right. And so here's what I've got. Can you guys see? This is what I have. I'm wiggling because I moved my camera, sorry. So yeah, so I have this little strip of hearts, and we've got some thread kind of coming out both ends, and this is a great little page. I don't know, it's just neat for collage. It's super fun. I love this. And so I'm going to do a few more of these, and then I'll show you what I do with the other pieces that I have going on, like the other scraps that I'm not necessarily using. So I like to try and make them in kind of like a little rainbow, but that does make it a little bit harder to get them on the paper that way, and a little bit more challenging in terms of sewing. So you do want to, and also you want to make sure that your heart shapes kind of come through. Like you might have to, not like the blue with that. You might have to play around a little bit. Um, and then layer them how you want. I don't know. I want a bigger one there, I think. I think I need smaller strips because I'm using smaller hearts than what I normally would use. And so I think my strips need to be narrower because they're kind of showing, which is not, the end of the world. You can always cut them off if you want to. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this color palette. At least if they're all the same, then it will feel cohesive. All right. So there I've got another one. Cutting this off. I think I'm going to try and cut it like this so that it doesn't show. So there we have that. I'm going to run this through. All right, so there we have another one done. And the colors are not terrible. I think as long as I have the same colors in the in the banner, is that what we're calling it? I don't know what I'm calling it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to try making this a little bit narrower though and see if that makes it a little better. I'll do one more just so you can kind of see. You can do these just all in book pages if you wanted to. You could do like all different kinds of book pages lined up. We can do like a black and white one. Um, maybe we'll just do lots of different book pages and hearts along the way. I'm alternating black and white this time. And I don't know, that one feels kind of like not the right shape or size because that's so much bigger. I don't really have one that's any bigger. I think this needs to go in front. That will help. Okay. All right, let's run this one through. I don't really love this the thread cutter. Like I'm used to just grabbing scissors, but I'm working in such a small space that I'm like gonna bump into my desk if I try to do that. So yeah, there you go. So we've got kind of a black and white one here, and we have one with more like pale colors and some different patterns, and then we have this one that's a little bit more vibrant. It's got some pinks and some purples and a little bit of green. And I think as long as the colors come all the way through, then you've got, yeah. And these are small enough that they could fit on a page. So I've done some that are really big. Let me see. Of course, nothing is ever easy. So I have some that are very big. So you can see these are really long banners that maybe you could use on like a journal cover or something. But compared to the ones that I'm making today, these are much smaller examples of what I'm doing. But it's a great way, I think it's a great way for me to test out this sewing machine and get familiar with it. Now I'm making a huge mess. While they're on my desk, I guess I can show you some of the ones that I've done. There's some patterns. This one has some pinks and some turquoise colors and some brown paper. This one has a little bit of yellow in it that picks up some of the yellow in these florals. So that's a nice color palette. And then this one is mostly all neutrals. These are some magazine pages. So they're nice and like shiny, glossy pages. So yeah, there's lots of things that you can do with this project. Uh, these were made with painted papers. So you can see I've got some really messy painted papers kind of scattered in here along with some scrapbook paper. I do like this one with a different size. And some more in the same color palette. This one has 2 layers. It's got some big hearts and then some small hearts. Right? So super fun. Super fun. And I'm excited to go through the rest of this pile of hearts. I might cut some more so that I have a bigger selection of hearts to choose from. But here's what I do with the rest. And you may have seen this in a short, because now I have all of these little scraps that I've cut the hearts out of, right? And these could absolutely just go right in the trash. But how cute are they? Why not put them to good use? So I started doing this already with the black ones. I just have a pile of book pages here since I've been harvesting books over the last few weeks, really, I guess. And I'm just kind of like slapping down some glue stick in a square. I'm not worried about trying to put the glue on this part. I'm just slapping it down on here and then laying this down. And I can get about 4 at a time on here. Just try to get enough on so that the corners will hold down. And then once the glue dries later, you can cut these out and then you can stitch these as well. So these become super fun little tags. Well, my hands have glue kind of stuck all over them. So you probably won't want to cut these out while the glue is still wet. It's definitely going to muck up your scissors a little bit and definitely your sewing machine. So do not cut these or sew them while the glue stick is still wet, unless you're way more careful. If you want to be way more careful with your glue stick, then, be my guest. But my caution to you would be to not try to cut or sew until the glue is completely dry and it's not sticky anymore. So these are dry, they're not sticky. And so I'm going to just go in and I'm going to cut these out. And you could cut them as plain squares. You may have seen me use these in other projects because I think they're wonderful fodder. Or you can cut them as tags. Depending on how much paper you use, you could give yourself like a little tag shape and turn it into a little tag. And so I'm going to cut these out. And you could glue them right up against each other and then just cut them straight out. I was not being that careful. So there's some excess around the edge, and my hearts are not always real, like this is a pretty wonky heart. And I was really struggling with the tissue paper because this black tissue paper with the gold writing is absolutely gorgeous, but it's so thin. It was really hard to get it glued down without it sticking to absolutely everything. So yeah, so now I have a few more of these. I should have done that one as a tag since I had room at the top. You could still put a tag on it if you wanted to. Like if you cut them out like this and you don't like them as squares, right? You could just attach a little bit of additional paper to the top and then make it into a tag. And there you go. There you have a tag from what was not a tag. And then when we stitch around these in a minute, that will give that some additional support. So I kind of like them just like this without the tag part. I'm perfectly happy to have them be a little flap or just part of a collage cluster. So I don't need them to be tags. So I'm not going to do that. Some of this. My desk is very, very messy here. Can you see the mess that is happening? Yes, yes, we can. Lovely. All right. So I have strips of paper. I have charts that I've cut out. I have cutoffs. And now I bring my sewing machine back. Now, what I like to do with this is I like to start at one corner and then just go all the way around, which does involve a little bit of adjusting your sewing machine. I'm also going to adjust the length of my stitch just a little bit because these are kind of small. So let's see how this works. Now, I'm going to I'm gonna try taking my shoes off because I feel like I don't have a lot of control with this pedal when I have my shoes in. So I need to manage like the speed of the sewing machine. Lift the foot a little bit. I know you can't really see what I'm doing, and then I just turned the other way. Now, if I'm sure there are folks out there who are much more experienced with a sewing machine and can do a much better job of explaining what to do here. Or how to do it. I just realized that I was talking while I was sewing, and you guys probably either couldn't hear me because my microphone was drowning it out, or you couldn't hear me over the sewing machine. So I'm sorry about that. But this probably would have looked better if I had used a different color thread over top of the black, because you really can't see the stitches with the black thread on top of the black around the outside. You can see them on the back and you can see what I've done here, but that doesn't really translate on the front. So yeah, so I probably will not do the rest of these in black. I'll probably switch my thread out. Maybe I'll get like a cream color or a gold. I think I have like a gold thread that would look pretty on this with the gold writing already. So I might switch those out, but that's the project, guys. If you just cut some scraps, some hearts out of scrap, grab your sewing machine if you've got one. You could probably hand stitch this if you wanted, or you could just put them together on strips of paper, glue them a little bit more carefully, obviously, and then you could use maybe even a stamp to show stitching without having to actually stitch it. I just like this as a fun sewing project, so I am going to make some more of these. I'm going to put a book on and sit here and just cut hearts and sew some hearts to my heart's content. And I'm going to ignore the mess that is happening off camera because my craft room is, it's got a lot going on right now and I'm a little overwhelmed. So, yeah, I'm going to just let it be for now. I'm going to just focus on what's right here in front of me. I'm going to get this stuff done and I'll deal with it another day. Thanks for being here, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Like and subscribe, share my videos, follow me on social media. If you're local, I would love to see you at a workshop. Any way that I can connect with you would make me happy. So let me know. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much, guys.